Alright guys, holy crap, I don't really know where to start this, but we have a massive update coming our way. It is the Italian update. Again, this is Chili Games, welcome. And this is going to be me going over the patch notes, and I'm going to post it below. So what I would like for you to do, if you really want to see all of it, follow along with me. You know, I'm not going to be reading this word for word, like all the little things. I'm going to pick out things that stand out the most that I feel like are of, I would say, most importance. And there's a lot here, so understanding it and kind of seeing how it's going to play out are all going to be kind of difficult. I feel like this is a massive, massive update in terms of how the game is going to change a little bit. So first up, campaign ship is going to be the Roma. Tier 7, and I gotta say, Roma, if you want any sort of video of how it plays, go watch PC. There's tons of videos, and obviously, I say that with a grain of salt because Legends has changed pretty significantly how ships perform in terms of being Legends and PC. So just say if you want a rough idea of what Roma will play like, go watch PC. I think the biggest thing that inhibits it from it being good is on the PC version, the dispersion is a little wonky at times, but again, that's just from the PC. It could be completely different on Legends here on console. So Roma, do I think it's worth it? Even if you don't want the ship, or even if you don't think it's going to be good, I think the campaigns are always worth their merit. So 2,500 doubloons. Let's see here. 17 promotion orders, 3 insignias, 2 commendations, Italian cruiser crates, 3 big Italian crates, and 950 doubloons. So basically, for just over 1,500 doubloons, you get all that stuff, and even if you didn't want the ship. So I always feel like the campaigns are some of the best bang for your buck in terms of they actually don't have premium days, but you'll be able to buy premium days with the currency that you get from the Admiralty. So definitely worth it. Next up is the Italian cruisers are also coming. It's going to be the Amalfi at the tier 7 and the Zara at tier 6. Biggest thing with this update, as I'm reading through here, cruisers are a mix of great maneuverability and light armor. Their firepower is nothing to sneeze at either. 203mm guns at high tiers with torpedo armaments that are quite respectable. Armor is reminiscent of British, so very squishy cruisers. These will be early access through the crates, so the cruisers will be coming the next update after the Roma campaign, I assume, but you can get up to the tier 6 with the crates. Let's see. And along with that, we have the Italian commanders. Only 4 of them, and they do look pretty snazzy. If you're following along with me. Let's see. And I'm going to butcher these names, honestly. Even if I were to study at this, I would butcher them. So, Inigo Campioni. Oh my god. I can't wait for the commander voice lines for this. Spartan is his base trait, reduces all incoming damage by 0.2% per rank, up to 4%. 4% of all damage, incoming damage, really isn't that great, but hey, it's a base trait. So Francesco Bernoulli, oh god, cruiser commander. And the first guy that I mentioned was default, so he's the half and half destroyer cruiser kind of guy. The next guy, cruiser commander, base trait, time to make a move, reduces the reload time of your cruiser's guns by 0.3% up to a total of 6%. That's pretty interesting. I'm not insane. Reduces the range of your torpedoes minus 40%, but makes them faster by 2 to 7 knots depending on the rank. And better concealed 50 to 200 meters. So it's going to reduce your range on the torpedoes, but it's going to make them faster and more stealthy. So that might be pretty decent, but if they have like something like 10-kilometer torpedoes is I think what they have, maybe. I'd have to check PC, see. I mean, you'd be looking at some pretty short range torps, but they would be very, very effective in that range. Alright, I think I can get this this next guy, Luigi Sansonetti, a cruiser commander as well. Aegis is his base trait. Reduce all incoming damage to your cruiser by 0.3%, total of 6. It's kind of weird. I don't know. The thing with cruisers, especially if you're lightly armored, taking traits like reducing your damage taken is... they're going to be very minimal in your amount of value, because for the most part, if you're in a lightly armored cruiser and you're taking damage, then you're out of position. So for the most part, I wouldn't really go for those kind of inspirations or perks. It's kind of like how I believe it's Tenet has like minus, I think you can get maxed out to minus 10% citadel damage, and if you're in a light cruiser taking citadels, it ain't gonna matter if it's 9,000 or 10,000 damage, to be honest. So kind of a weird. This is a big one. Subtle manipulation is one of the skills. Reduces the fuse timer for AP shells by 90%, as well as increases your cruiser AP shell damage +2 to +10 depending on the rank, but widens the shell grouping -5. So makes it a little bit less accurate, but reduces the fuse timer. Skill improves cruiser shell effectiveness against lightly armored targets and reduces the number of over-penetrations. So this is probably going to be like your British AP. What I feel like it's going to be able to do is be really good against destroyers, cruisers, and then you'll also be able to get superstructure damage, probably pretty decent on battleships. And remember that these are going to be 203mm guns at high tiers. So 203, I mean, yeah, that's going to be pretty fun. I think that might be a pretty good perk for sure. Puello di Riviera. God, I'm butchering these. Nowhere close to Italian. Time is of the essence. Base trait improves the reload speed of your battleship's main battery by 3% or 0.3%, not 3% per level, up to a total of 6%. So 6% maxed out, which is going to be pretty much impossible with the commander system we have here. Probably looking at like 5.4% at Legendary 2, rank 16, so pretty decent, 5%. It's not a huge buff, but it might be a nice inspiration for battleships if it's a pretty high upgrade commander. Artisan's Touch is a skill that he has. Increases the fuse timer for battleship AP shells +10%, and increases their penetration rating by +2% to 10% depending on the rank. This skill improves the ability of your battleships to deal damage to other battleships by making shells penetrate deeper into holes before exploding. However, this also increases the chance of overpinning lightly armored targets. So this is kind of like Jaujard on the French. I think this will be pretty decent because like with Roma, how it says you have 381mm guns, so definitely not massive, but with a skill like this, your penetration is going to be very good with it. So looks like a pretty decent commander lineup there. Let's see. Improved. Okay, so this is what's going to take so long, is the improved legendary skills, and it's a lot to grasp. And I don't fully understand everything. Obviously, I don't know everything. I haven't tested everything, so we're all learning this together. Let's see here. God, there's a lot. Before we move on to the descriptions of the new effects, please inform that all players who have already reached account level 7, which is something you do very early on, like your first couple, like probably you can probably do that in your first probably 25, 50 games. You will receive 2 commendations, while those who have Nikolai Kuznetsov or Stefan Markov will also receive a universal commendation for each of them. And I think the reasoning for that is going to be how their skills and their legendary skills are going to be changed. So we'll get into that. Let's see here. Added skill effects. Maximum distances to ships in brackets. Mastery levels 1 through 4. Higher mastery obviously allows the effect to be activated at longer distances. So, Unstoppable will now speed up the damage control party cooldown by 50% while in proximity of an enemy ship, and this proximity will depend on the level, of course. So your level 1 legendary will be 3 kilometers up to 7.5 kilometers at legendary 4, or mastery 4. Fully packed speeds up consumable reload time by 30% when in proximity of an allied ship. That's really good, actually. Think of that for like cruisers. You get a heal 30% faster, radar 30% faster, and the levels will be 1.5 kilometers, so very close at legendary 1, up to 3.5 kilometers at mastery 4. So that's pretty dicey. I like that a lot. And coming up here, this is in the gameplay that you're seeing. This is this is brutal. In the next minute, and I'll come back to it when it happens. Will to rebuild automatically activates the repair party effect. Okay, this is a big one, and I'm going to wait till after this play and the Mogami goes down, because this is a big one. This one is massive. So I'm going to switch over to the game for just a quick moment. Last guy, he's dead, basically. I have no sonar, so I can't locate this guy. He shoots widespread torps, which allows me to dodge. That definitely would have killed me. So thankful for that. But obviously he can't see me, so he was going on the bet that he would hit me. So what is the most demeaning thing you can do in a situation like this? And this is, let me know in the comments if this is borderline toxic. I don't know, but oh well. He's spotted, he's one shot, and we're not going to shoot the guns. We're just going to let the secondaries finish him off. Complete disrespect. Maybe a little toxic, whatever. Okay. Moving on from that, we're going to get into a game with the Flint. And boy oh boy, do I have things to say about the USN cruisers, and I'll get to that later in these patch notes. So, will to rebuild automatically activates the repair party effect if the ship's HP is lower than 20%, independently of whether the consumable is available or not. Restoration occurs at a rate of 0.5% of the max HP per second when in the proximity of an allied ship. So, if you are below 20% and you're running this perk or this skill, if you are within 1.5 kilometers or 3.5 if it's maxed out, you will start healing at a rate of 0.5%. So that is pretty crazy. What I'm worried about is we already have a lot of problems in the game now with a lot of ships clumping up. So for a battleship, essentially, you get a free heal if you're under those conditions. And let's see. Let us see. Yeah, that is, I don't know. My theory is you're going to be seeing a lot of battleships clumped together, and if you have a fire, this heal will completely negate it. So it's kind of like a free damage con, honestly. You'll be able to out-heal a fire if you're under these conditions. So that is pretty dang solid. Probably the one that I'm most curious to see about how it will work in game. Coming up next is Give Me Speed. Increases your destroyer's maximum speed by 10% when in proximity of an enemy ship. 3 kilometers to 7.5 kilometers if your skill is maxed out. So that's pretty crazy. I like that a lot. Moving on, Leviathan decreases the rudder shift time by 20% when in the proximity of an enemy ship. 3 kilometers to 7.5 kilometers. That is pretty nutty, and I believe that's a destroyer skill. So you'll be able to be very, in terms of like knife fighting, that is going to be very good for destroyers. So that one's pretty interesting for sure. Moving on here, because there's a lot of stuff to cover. Rather Be Torching shortens your destroyer's increased detectability time by 30%. So after you fire, you have 20 seconds to go undetected if you're not if you aren't within range of being detected. So that is another 30% buff to that if you're running it while in proximity of an allied ship. 1.5 kilometers to 3.5. That one's pretty decent. The only problem is 3.5 kilometers is very close, even maxed out, to an allied ship. So you won't be able to use that one a lot, I feel like. Refuel Station increases your cruiser's maximum firing range by 10% while in the proximity of an allied ship. That's a pretty significant buff to range. Obviously, it's short as well, 1.5 kilometers to 3.5 kilometers that you have to be next to an allied ship. So I don't think range is really a big deal with cruisers. You have plenty of range if you run beyond range with your heavy cruisers. And if you're running a light cruiser, you really don't need that extra range, because the odds of you actually hitting something at that increased range will be, I guess, not that advantageous. So still, nice little buff there. By the Book reduces incoming damage to your cruiser by 20% while in the proximity of an allied ship. 1.5 kilometers to 3.5 kilometers if your skill is maxed out. Now, as I said earlier, the reducing damage to your ship isn't that great, but 20% is a lot, especially if you're dueling a cruiser. 20% is a solid buff. But again, it's a short range, proximity range to your allied ship, so I don't know how well that one will be or how consistent that one will be. Farsight reduces incoming torpedo damage to your ship by 30% while in proximity of an allied ship. 30% is a lot. If you combine that with your torpedo belt, let's say like Yamato has 55% damage reduction if you hit the belt. And if you're within those parameters, you have plus 30%. So torps are going to tickle you if you're under these conditions. That one's pretty ridiculous. Running with Scissors increases your battleship's main gun shell damage by 15% when in the proximity of an enemy ship, 3 kilometers to 7.5. That one is pretty... 15% is a very good buff to your main gun shell damage. Smogathon increases your torpedo speed by 10 knots when in the proximity of an allied ship. That is... 10 knots is crazy. So Fletcher... Oh wait, actually you don't have Smogathon on Fletcher. So that would be Lightning. So... Wow, that's going to be some pretty fast torps. Holy crap. Again, there's so much going on here that it's kind of hard to ingest all of it, and we'll see how it all plays out. And the biggest thing in the update, as well as Will to Rebuild, Equilibrium of Power. There is no proximity effect. However, the skill has been moved to the legendary tier as well. Get this, as well as added to Norman Scott and Thomas Kincaid's arsenal. So, oh Boy, let me finish. Additionally, the skill will now statically reduces the ship's chances of setting fires with HE shells by 2%. So basically, USN light cruisers or USN cruisers are getting EOP. So things like Boys, Dallas, Helena, Cleveland, Flint, Atlanta will now be getting EOP, and I am very excited to see what it can do. I think this is going to propel Cleveland and things like Flint to be somewhat overpowered. I already think Cleveland is already in that category. Cleveland is absolutely insane. So adding EOP is going to be, I don't know. I think that's a little much. But you will also not be able to pick refill station, and you won't be able to pick the extra consumable. So it's a little bit of a trade-off, and it's reducing the fire chance by 2%. I think that reducing the fire chance with the skill is very necessary. It might need to be more, but it's a move in the right direction. But however, we're getting it on the USN Cruiser, so we'll see how that plays out. That's a massive buff, I feel like, to the USN Light Cruisers. Yeah, so I told you guys, this is a huge update. Moving on to the Transformers content, I'm not going to spend too long on these. You can look over the command or something like that. I'm excited for them. The only thing is, I don't know. I think they're decent, and you can read over them as well. Optimus Prime for Iowa, Bumblebee for Fletcher, Megatron for Bismarck, Rumble for Tashkent. I was really hoping we'd get something like a secondary USNBB, more like the Massachusetts. And I told the devs, I was like, yo, like, we need an Ironhide commander for Massachusetts. And I got no response, but, you know, that would be insane. Like, come on. Ironhide from Transformers being the commander on a Massachusetts, a secondary build. Oh, that would be ridiculous. So, moving on, you guys can look at that, and I'll also, obviously I'll post the patch notes in the description. French destroyers are now, you can research them, you can research the Les Fantasques, and I'm excited for the ship for sure. I need to grind the tier 6 because I didn't get it in a crate. So excited for the French destroyers for sure. Next is a big one, camouflage management. The time has come to enjoy more camouflages and choose which colors you want to turn permanent. That's right. You can convert any disposable camouflage into a permanent one by using a new currency, paint. Upgrade a number of disposable camo sets to permanent camos for a particular ship. That camo will receive grade 1 status after the upgraded 0.5% bonus. Upgrade newly created permanent camos to higher grades. Wow, okay, so improving concealment and incoming shell dispersion. So you're going to be able to add on to the already minus 4.5% and plus 4.5% to those stats. Create historic camos for ships with paint. This particular feature will be rolled out in later updates, and the camos will be added regularly. Melt disposable camos down into paint, which can be used for camo creation and upgrades. Making permanent camos out of disposable ones takes different number of sets depending on the camo. However, upgrading it always costs the same amount of paint. 150 paint to grade 2, 250 to grade 3, 350 to grade 4. Whenever buying a camo that you already have, but that's on a different grade. You will be compensated with paint unless stated otherwise. The amount of paint you receive is always based on the lower grade camouflage, whether you're upgrading or getting a lower grade duplicate from a bundle. For example, the amount of paint you'll receive for duplicating camos as follows: grade 1 75, grade 2 150, grade 3 250, grade 4 350. So that's a lot to take in. Don't necessarily understand it all the way for right now, but we'll be able to tweak and stuff like that when we actually get to see it in this update. Another huge thing in the miscellaneous here: added a filter option for Italian ships. Italian commanders see their own tab, so that's nice. And probably the biggest quality of life, or one of the biggest things, is boosters can now be converted in bulk. That is right, you don't have to spam the convert booster button for minutes on end. You can convert them in bulk now, so that is awesome. Gonna be scrolling through the miscellaneous because as this game is coming to an end, this video is also coming to an end as well. Several premium ships have been moved to the ships menu. Any unspent Liberty bonds will be compensated at a rate of 7,500 credits to one bond. So you'll be getting, I think I have 50 that I haven't used from the USN Liberty bonds thing. So those will be converted into credits, which is nice because you can't spend those. Fixed bugs. Let's see. Just, you know, fixed bugs, whatever. Additional premium ships. There's a 95% chance that these ships will make it into the update, but some may end up being postponed. We'll announce the ships. So you'll be getting the Tier 4 Italian battleship, oh god, Galileo Caesar, available for doubloons. This ship is on PC, and if I'm correct, this thing is a monster. Like, it is like seal clubbing on PC. So at tier 4, this thing will be pretty interesting. I'm excited to see what that looks like. Tier 6 Italian cruiser Duca. Oh God, I told you Italian is not my forte here. So tier 6 Italian cruiser Duca degli whatever, available for doubloons. Tier 5 British cruiser London, available for doubloons, and the Tier 7 French battleship Gascon, available for 750,000 global XP. And that's going to wrap up this massive update. I know that was a lot. It's a lot for me. I don't understand all of it, but I'm excited to kind of get into it. And this Flint game is coming to a close as well, guys. Again, we are officially a community contributor, and I have no words but other than thank you, and I am insanely honored. So yeah, this update is going to be massive in terms of how it affects the game, and I'm super excited to see how everything plays out. And as this King George is being melted, we send out the thanks to that guy. And that is pretty much going to be it, guys. Obviously, check it out for yourself. And I am very excited to get into all this. And I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Have a good one. And I will see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.